I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Lolly's Learning Curve. And today I'm going to be talking about how I got my children to start reading early. And when I say early, I'm talking about ages 1.5, 2. That's when they started reading. I'm going to be using this as a reference. This is the Brighter Child Early Learning Flashcards. I'm going to put a little picture. I started them off using this, and this is a pack of flashcards that has the alphabet, colors and shape, first words, numbers, phonics, and sight words, right? It's very basic, but it's also it's a very good product. So what we start off with, I personally start off in the womb, reading, talking a lot, getting them familiar with my voice, reading my books to them, and things like that when they're in the womb. When they come out, I'm still doing a lot of reading, just normalizing reading, normalizing the sound and tone of my voice, and fluctuating in emphasis on certain words and things like that. I think that's very important because children are sponges. I've actually read something that said that babies can actually start to learn to read at the same time where they're learning language. So that means like sign language and things like that. And that's at the age of 3 months, as early as 3 months. I'm not saying that they're going to be able to say words at 3 months, but they can start to identify and get familiarized with certain words visually. Okay, so first things first, I start with alphabet and phonics. I've combined them. So of course, well, I don't know if I combine them initially, but of course you want to start your kid to your child learning how to recognize letters, right? I like these cards because with the letters, which most flashcards do have, with letters they have a picture corresponding to give them the sound of the word. So R for robot. What I like to add in is R for robot to help them learn the sound of the letter even better. So I just go through it. I for igloo, B for bear. So then you're also showing them uppercase and lowercase. I actually start them off using uppercase, then I go to lowercase. I don't know why I do. But after they've mastered the alphabet, that's when you move on to the next phase. The next phase is now first words. First words are basically just words that your child is going to learn first. The first words that they start to say, you hear them babbling and, saying things around the house. So first words will be things like flower, egg, moon, sun, cat. You get the gist of it. You have a visual, right? The child gets a visual, they get to see the word. But make sure that when you're showing your child the visual, you're also pointing down to the word. Sometimes you can even spell it out, but you're pointing to the word. And so your child is looking, at the word, not just the picture, but also the word. What I like about these cards are on the back of them, once your child graduates from the visual, you can start to show them the words by themselves. And then your child can master these words. So after, and what I would do is, I take like a few cards, maybe 5 to 10 cards every few days, and just review those same cards over and over again until they got them, right? So the front and back. So the child knows the picture, your child knows just the word by itself. So every few days I take 10 words or so, and once my child has mastered those, I move on to the next set, and so forth until they completed the whole set. And then we'll just start doing the whole set over and over again. Okay. After that, I would start sight words. No, this is not a sight word. After that, I start sight words. Sight words are words that your child should be able to read without having to sound them out. So they don't have to go had. They should be able to look at it and say had on sight. That's why it's called sight words. So the same thing with the sight words, mixing it in, because now your child is moving on. So we don't necessarily have to do the alphabet, but we still might be focusing on phonics and first words. So we're mixing all that together, and then we're doing sight words. Now, after the sight words, you'll be able to formulate sentences for your child, right? Small, short sentences. The cat is fat. The cat is bad. He had a hat. Things like that. So those short sentences kind of help them to learn the structure of how words should look in sentences, right? So something that I ended up making for my children is this little book called First Sentences. And I'll also show you some other books that I made them to help me with the flashcards. This right here has sight words, a lot of sight words, lists of sight words. And then I have little sentences in here that they could practice throughout the day. I would also use I have a whiteboard in their room, in their playroom. And so I take the whiteboard and I would write sentences, and I still do this. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So I take the whiteboard and I put some words on there, helper words, aka sight words, words of the week, which could be words from word families and things like that. And then I'll also put sentences on there and let them read the sentences every day. Now, when they're not doing that, and now they actually read books, but I have children who are smaller, they are able to take this book and read it. And I also created a word book for the first words, some of the first words. And the reason why I did this is because this is actually better for your child throughout the day. They can actually pick this up on their own instead of making a mess of the flashcards and bending them, breaking them, tearing them up. I put some words on paper, put them inside of the protector sheets, and let them have at it. Another thing that I used, word families. So once they got the sight words down, they have the phonics, they understand the lettering and first words and all that, then you can start introducing word families. Word families are just words that have the same ending. Or I guess you can also call them rhyming words. So cab, crab, dab, drab, grab, lab, hat, nad, tab, whatever, ab. Those are ad words. So bad, dad, glad, had, lad, mad, pad, tab. These are ad words and word family. So this book has pages upon pages of word family words so they can practice. This is something that I use on top of Hooked on Phonics. We also use Hooked on Phonics. So we don't use it that much though. So maybe like once or twice a week they actually do Hooked on Phonics. Otherwise, we were doing this stuff. Another thing I want you to focus on or to pay attention to when you're teaching your child is to learn about learning styles. The thing that you have working to your advantage when your child is not in a classroom setting is that you can figure out your child's learning style and try to build fun activities and things around that. So if your child is more of a visual learner or a hands-on learner and just sitting here looking at words is not working for them, you can try word songs. YouTube is a great resource for word songs, word family songs, and things like that, where they're still learning, or in the beginning phases, alphabet puzzles. And this still works with the letter and the phonics portion of it, so that they're still, you get to say A for Alice, B for Baloo, so they're still hearing that, but they're still, they're using their hands, and so they're interacting in the way that is best for them, and they're learning and absorbing in a different way. So yeah, that's basically it. The main thing though, on top of everything, is to please be consistent, but also please be patient with yourself and your child. Your child, even though some children read at earlier phases, some children have harder times with this, and set realistic expectations. I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. I should have just said I have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. My 1-year-old, I start these cards as early as 6 months, right? So my 1-year-old is familiar with these cards. He can't really talk yet. He's just looking at words. And my 2-year-old she knows all her first words, and she knows some of her sight words. She's learning quite a bit. So she knows some of that stuff. She's now working in this word book by herself, most of the time, unfortunately. But she's working on this word book now, and she does hooked on phonics as well every now and again, and it does help. It helps me because I have so many children now. By this time, my 3-year-old was already reading on his own. My 2-year-old is still, working on other things. My 4-year-old, she is not as great of a reader as my 3-year-old, but she's still reading. And I like the way that I did it because they understand the construct of sentences, and they comprehend what they're reading now. They can read a book, and I ask them questions about the book, so they have reading comprehension as well as the identification of words. So that's what I like about the method that I used. Even though someone else's kids might be doing things at this level, you have to also take into consideration your lifestyle, things that you're doing, that you are a busy parent. Most likely you're a very busy parent, and so you have to kind of like make time for this stuff. So don't expect results out of this world if you're only able to spend 15-20 minutes a day with your child doing this. Don't put that much pressure on yourself. Every child learns at a different rate. All 4 of my children learn at different rates, and so it's up to me as the parent to understand that and to try to be patient with all of them and not have the same expectancy that I had on previous children. Sometimes that's hard because you're like, hey man, Jack was getting it last year this time, you should be doing it too. But that's not necessarily realistic, right? So that's basically it, guys. If you have any questions about anything that I have talked about on today, please let me know. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment anything in the comment section that you want to ask, that you want to tell me, any helpful hints. I'm open. I'm a parent who is open to almost anything that has to do with learning and helping my children advance. So, and I know you are too. That's why I have created this channel, because I want us to share and exchange information. I'm only giving you my point of view, but I'd love to hear your point of view and your experience. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm so happy that you watched my channel. And until next time, God bless you.